Yeah,
We'll call to order the regular October 21st, 2013 meeting of the Robertson County Commission. We'll begin the meeting this evening with the invocation by Commissioner Bobby Jones, to be followed by the pledge to the flag. If you will, please stand. Commissioner Jones.
Most Heavenly Father, we thank you for the presence in our lives, Father. Give us the ability and the desire to follow your teachings, Father, so that this will be a better country to live in, a better county, and a better city. Lord, I pray for our soldiers overseas. I pray for this whole country, Father. So much bad is going on, Father. I pray that someday good will be here. I pray for the state, I pray for the county, and I pray for the city, and I pray for this body. Guide us and lead us, and help us, Father, to do thy will with thy vote tonight. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioners, if you'll press yes and confirm, you will be registered into the voting system.
He's not bad, pretty good.
There being 21 commissioners present, of course, we know that Commissioner Bill Gray continues to convalesce, and got a phone call this afternoon from Commissioner Billy Ray, who is also ill, will not be able to join us tonight, so we have 21 commissioners present. So we do have a quorum present. Commissioners, you have the minutes for the previous meeting. What's your pleasure? Have a motion by DeOrio and second by Commissioner Gregory. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So the minutes are approved. Very briefly, under communication, and I'll be reading this verbatim. Letter dated September 9th of this year from the State of Tennessee, Comptroller of the Treasury, Office of State and Local Finance, stating this letter acknowledges receipt for a request for approval to issue a tax and revenue anticipation note for the school fund in the amount of $2,400,000 and a TRAN for the general fund in the amount of $790,000. The letter constitutes approval by the Office of State and Local Finance for the issuance of the following amount: $2.4 million school fund interfund tax and revenue anticipation note, Series 2013, issued by interfund loan from the debt service fund. Currently, the general fund may not exceed $790,000 TRAN, but the Commission is being informed should this need arise. Approval is conditioned upon agreement with the following 6 terms by the County Board of Commissioners as listed on the letter dated September 9th from the state. The first agreement states a copy of this letter shall be provided to all members of the County Commission, be presented at the next meeting of the County Commission, and be entered into the minutes of the meeting. The other 5 agreements states the following. 1, compliance with TCA Title IX, Chapter 21 law, and shall provide the state veritable documentation for compliance for FY 2014. 2, use tax and revenue anticipation note form that complies with the state requirement as its loan document. 3, report execution of TRAN and the amount within 45 days of issuance on Form CT-0253 to the state. 4, maintenance of a balanced budget with no cash deficit and have sufficient revenues to pay operating and debt service costs during FY 2014. And 5, repayment of the TRAN shall be no later than June 30, 2014. The Finance Director will meet these 5 requirements. Later on this evening, you will be asked to adopt or ratify a resolution for Robertson County's entry into the Metropolitan Planning Organization. I say this basically for the benefit of our audience. This is a process that we really began almost 3 years ago, and hopefully we are nearing the completion. What had to happen prior to the county's entrance was for Springfield and White House to renew their membership, for Greenbrier to apply for membership, which they have done through their resolution. In fact, the resolution that you'll be considering tonight is a partner resolution with the City of Greenbrier. Assuming that you adopt this resolution, it will go then to the governor's office for consideration to then be approved by the legislature when they are in session in January. So that's the steps that still have to be concluded because we're still not there, but this is another step throughout that process. Also, many of you have picked up copies of the Comprehensive Growth Plan and Land Development Plan in the Planning Office. If you have not, please do so. That will go before the Planning Commission on November 7th, and then will come to you at the regular November 18th meeting. So this is a very important step forward for our community, so make sure that you know what is actually in the plan. And finally, the issue was raised at the September meeting of the County Commission about Mr. Douglas's, our EMA's director's, balance of comp time. And the hours that you were presented that night are correct because we have checked this out with the finance office. He has 1,804.5 comp hours. And of course, as you know, our handbook has a limit of 80, but we also have a department which is of one person. And when one person is called out for a toxic spill or some kind of emergency situation, we have no choice but to send that one person. So that's why his hours reflect that very inflated number. So I wanted to make sure that we were all clear on that. We'd gotten back with information about that. Any questions about anything I've mentioned? Seeing none, I think we're ready for reports. And the first report that the chair has is from EMS 7.1. 7.2 is a report from the Fire Service. 7.3 is a report from the Highway Commission. 7.4 is a report for the Trustees' Statement of Funds. 7.5 is from Solid Waste. 7.6 is from the Planning Commission. 7.7 is the Finance Report. 7.8 is report from the Gorham-McBain Public Library. 7.9 is a report from the Veteran Service Officer. And those are all the reports the chair has. What's your pleasure?
Kept in file.
Have a motion by Commissioner Jones, they be accepted and ordered filed, and a second by Commissioner Gregory. All those in favor say aye. And opposed, no, so they are approved. Next is under elections and appointments, the election of a 6th District Commissioner. Hopefully you've had a chance to familiarize yourself with the process. Those of you who were here 2 years ago when we had a vacancy in the 4th District know how this is done. It is my job to present to you the names that have been presented to the mayor's office. There may be other names that are submitted from the floor tonight. And the names that have been submitted to the mayor's office for consideration are Stacy Rice Moulton Moore, Tony Neal, Chris Jagodovich, James Shelby, Shannon Kaplinger, Christy Wilson. Are there other names to be presented to the commission for consideration? After the first ballot, if no one has received 12, which is the majority number now that we have a commission of 23 members, then the persons receiving fewer than 10% of the votes will be dropped and consideration will be given to those that remain, and we'll continue to narrow that process down until we have found a person who has garnered 12 of the 23 votes. Are we all clear as to what we're doing? Are we ready to vote? Yes. When the clerk calls your name, if you will say the name of the person for whom you wish to vote, and we will proceed from that point. Are we all clear? Madam Clerk?
Adcock.
Tony Neal.
Baggett. Bowens.
Tony Neal.
Brown.
Commissioner Brown.
I need to speak to this. I'm going to abstain from the vote. Two of the names on this list I have very close business relationships with. We're family. I felt comfortable because of the closeness of the situation I have.
Bryant,
More.
Counts,
Tony Neal.
Diorio,
More.
Doris,
Stacy.
Duggar,
More.
Eden,
Tony Neal.
Farmer, Garner,
Tony Neal.
Gray Bill, absent. Gray Kevin, Gregory, Haley,
More.
Jackson, Jones,
More.
Ray Billy, absent. Spears,
Stacy.
Stubblefield,
Moore. Oh, excuse me, Neil. Sorry, Neil.
Vogel,
More.
Wilson,
More.
Sir, we have Moore with 12 votes and Neal with 8.
Moore with 12 votes and Neal with 8 votes. The chair declares that Stacy Rice Moulton Moore has been appointed to fill the unexpired term in the 6th District. And at this time, we will administer the oath of office. Ms. Moore, come forward. Stacy, if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Stacy Moore,
I, Stacy Moore,
do swear
do swear
that I will perform with fidelity
that I will perform with fidelity
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
to which I've been elected
to which I've been
and
elected
to which I'm about to assume.
and of which I'm about to assume.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of Tennessee
to support the Constitution of Tennessee
and the United States
and the United States
and to faithfully perform the duties
and faithfully perform the duties
of the office of County Commissioner
of the office of County Commissioner
representing the 6th District
representing the 6th District
Robertson County,
of
Tennessee.
Robertson County, Tennessee.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I recognize Commissioner Billy Vogel, who is chairman of the nominating committee for a group of nominations. Mr. Vogel.
Fellow Commissioners, Mr. Chairman, Madam Clerk, and ladies and gentlemen, the nominating committee met tonight, and if I can get a second, I'd like to go over our agenda, please.
Second by Commissioner Gray.
Okay, we've got the Health and Safety Standards Board, Keith Hoover, for another 4-year term. Airport Board, Sam Cheedy, he's taking Chris Simpkins' place. Chris was with the county on this appointee, but he went to the city appointee, so and the Airport Board has recommended Sam. And then the Regional Library Board is Catherine Clark. She's taking over for Carol Sletto.
Have a motion?
Vote all these at one time,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman?
That's fine. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So they are elected. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We recognize Ms. Martha Wilkinson, who is our Director of Planning, for public hearing. If you are here to speak in favor of or in opposition to these resolutions, you'll have an opportunity to do so in just a moment. Ms. Martha.
We have 3 resolutions. The first one is for Ms. Karen Hill. She is asking that 8.77 acres located on Bill Moss Road, the 11th Civil District, the 3rd voting district, have a change of zoning from AG2 to R40. The Planning Commission looked at this request, and their vote was 9-0 for you to rezone.
Anyone here to speak to this resolution? Ms. Martha.
The second resolution from Mr. Philip A. Doris. He is requesting a rezone of 1.54 acres located on Fluellen Road, the 8th Civil District, the 11th Voting District. The Planning Commission looked at this at our last meeting, and the vote was 9-0 for rezoning.
Anyone here to speak to this resolution? Ms. Martha.
Third and final resolutions from Mr. John S. Drake. He is requesting that 0.93 acres located on North Wallace Road, the 8th Civil District, the 11th Voting District, have a change of zoning from AG2 to R40, and the Springfield Regional Planning Commission has evaluated and recommends this request. Their vote was 6-0 for you to rezone.
Anyone to speak to this resolution? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing at this time and bring these three resolutions back to the body for your consideration. Have a motion by Commissioner Brown and a second by Commissioner Baggett. If you're in favor of these three resolutions, please vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 22 votes in favor and none opposed and one absent, I declare that resolution approved. We're now ready for new resolutions. And I have managed to lose my list of who's doing which. Garner. Recognize Commissioner Jonathan Garner for resolution number 1.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Madam Clerks, fellow commissioners, ladies and gentlemen in the audience. Bring to your attention resolution number 102-113-079. This is the resolution to approve the closure of an alleyway located in Springfield, Tennessee. And I'll say more specifically, it's...
Have a motion. Is there a second to the motion? And a second by? Commissioner Haley.
This would be an alleyway that's needed to be closed. Is working in conjunction with the city of Springfield for the closure of an alleyway located adjacent to the Gorham McBain Public Library. No pun intended. It paves the way for the library project that we've been discussing for the past several years.
Questions or comments?
Jonathan, the city has agreed to this as well.
My understanding that the city has, they've taken it back to their planning and zoning at this time due to a procedural oversight, but they will be approving that in conjunction with us.
I think they acted on that Tuesday night. I'm not certain, but I think they did.
It goes before the Board of Mayor and Aldermen at their next regular meeting.
Ready to vote? If you're in favor of this resolution, please vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 22 votes in favor, none opposed, and 2 absent, I declare that resolution approved. Recognize now Commissioner Gregory from the Legislative Committee for Robertson County's entry into the MPO.
Mayor Bradley, Clerk Ashley, fellow commissioners, and honored guests, we have before us tonight the joint resolution that Mayor Bradley was referring to earlier. This is a resolution between the City of Greenbrier and Robertson County requesting membership in the Nashville Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. I move for passage.
Have a motion for approval, a second by Commissioner DiOrio. Any questions? Question has been called for. Seeing no opposition to question being put, if you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 22 votes in favor, none opposed, and 2 absent, I declare that resolution approved. Thank you. Recognize now Commissioner Bryant for the Bi-County Solid Waste Management System. This is a resolution that was brought to the Solid Waste Committee at their last meeting, and Montgomery County is looking for a little help from us. Commissioner Bryant.
Thank you. County Mayor, Madam Clerk, fellow commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. This resolution number 1021-13081 is a resolution to recommend that grant funds be awarded to the Bi-County Solid Waste Management System. If I could get a second, I'll speak to it.
And a second by Commissioner Jackson.
This resolution simply states the Robertson County's support of the Bi-County solid waste, which consists of Stewart and Montgomery counties. What it is, the grant is for the purchase of a tire shredding machine, a $300,000 grant, which I don't know the exact cost, but it won't pay for a third of it. And by Robertson County supporting it, we're simply saying that we would be interested if Bi-County got this in place to, take our tires and shred them there. I think when I got on solid waste, we had 6 or 7 companies bidding for these tires, and now we're down to 1. So if Bi-County could get this done, it would be a big help for the counties surrounding us.
As I think I mentioned to you earlier, we're in a very vulnerable situation right now. Our contract's coming to expire at the end of the year, and with only one company that is issuing a bid, we hope that Montgomery County is able to get this grant. Be very much in our interest for that to happen. Any questions? Question been called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, please vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 22 votes in favor and none opposed and 2 absent, I declare that resolution approved. Recognize Commissioner Adcock, who is chairman of Building and Grounds, for the purpose of the WIC or WIC building, Women, Infants, and Children building, which is right down the street here on Brown. Commissioner Adcock.
Mayor Bradley, Madam Clerk, fellow commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, this resolution is 1021-13082. It's to purchase the WIC building. If I can get a second.
And a second by Commissioner Garner. Mr. Adcock.
This resolution was brought to us. Currently, the hospital has been furnishing this building to the county, and we're in a joint venture with, I guess it's with the federal government, that issue these programs through WIC, and the hospital is going to sell the building. And we've had it, I think, for 3 or 4 years now, and they've not charged us any rent. I think at one appraisal was $395,000, and then the local appraisal was $345,000. We've offered them $300,000, and they have agreed to take that. And we went back to them and asked them if we could pay half of it this year, half of it next year. They agreed to that. We have some funds. They have come back to the county through, one of them was workman's comp claim, but we have about, I believe the number is in the neighborhood of $130,000. So this year, what we'd have to come up with to pay our note on it would be $20,000. The building is in excellent condition. We got a grant from the federal government a year or 2 ago, and they went in and remodeled the inside. And then the county was in agreement with the hospital that if something happened to the roof, we'd have to fix it. Well, we had to put one on it about a year ago. So the building's in good shape. The purchase price we felt like was a good deal. And we'd ask the county commission to purchase it.
Questions or comments? It's been 7 years that we've been staying there rent-free, and we're grateful to Northcrest we moved in there in 2006. So we are grateful for that.
The use is going to continue
as it is. Yeah. Questions or comments? Question's been called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time.
Mayor Bradley. I'm not going to vote on that because I'm a member of the hospital.
Commissioner Bowens is abstaining because his affiliation with Northcrest. Thank you, sir. So there's an abstain button. There's an abstain button on the device, Commissioner Bowens.
I'm sorry.
Very good. There being 21 votes in favor, 1 abstain, 2 absent. I declare that resolution approved. Thank you, sir. Recognize now Commissioner Couts for the issuance, sale, and payment of land adjacent to Greenbrier High School. The county's Education Committee met on this, I think, a week ago tonight, and this is a recommendation coming from Education. Commissioner Couts.
Mr. Mayor, Madam Clerk, ladies and gentlemen, fellow commissioners, I'd like to present Resolution 102-113-083. It's a resolution to fund a purchase of some land in front of Greenbrier High School. If I could get a second.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Garner.
This motion says we'll loan $95,000 to the school board to purchase this property. It'll be repaid in 2 years. Am I understanding that right? It connects to Greenbrier High School on Kniff Drive. It's got us landlocked on one side, is the idea of this.
Any questions or comments?
Is it vacant? Is it a vacant lot?
No, sir. It's got a home on it. Yes, sir.
It's a home and a barn. I think the school board's considering allowing the barn to be removed.
Yeah, we get it for, what, we get $3,000 off if they remove the barn?
$600 off the price, I think we were told. So we've had land issues at Greenbrier High School for a long, long time, as those of you who are familiar with the facility know. Other questions or comments? Question has been called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. Mr. Vogel, are you still voting? It's not supposed to make any difference. There'll be 22 votes in favor, none opposed, and 2 absent. I declare that resolution approved. Commissioner Stubblefield for the delinquent Robertson County property taxes from the Delinquent Tax Committee. Commissioner Faye Stubblefield.
Mr. Mayor, Madam Clerk, fellow commissioners, and honored guest, I'd like to present to you Resolution 102-113-084. I'd like to make a motion.
And a second. Do I have a second? By Commissioner Dorio. Mr. Stubblefield.
This is a resolution on delinquent tax for county property that we will add the expense of advertising, publishing in the newspaper when we're selling property. That's the gist of it. Do you have any questions?
Questions or comments? So when the person buys the property, they're also paying for the advertising, so they know about it. Questions or comments? Seeing none, if you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. Mr. Garner, are you still voting?
He never voted, so.
There being 22 votes in favor, none opposed, and 2 absent, I declare that resolution approved. I'll now recognize Commissioner Garner for the Robertson County Employee Handbook. This has been a work in progress for these 3 years, and hopefully we're coming near the culmination. Commissioner Garner from the Personnel Committee.
Mr. Mayor, Madam Clerks, fellow commissioners, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, present to you resolution number 102-113-085. It's a resolution to approve the new Robertson County, Tennessee Employee Manual.
And there's second by Commissioner Eden.
As Mayor Bradley alluded to, I'm proud to present this. This is something that I've been working on since virtually when I was elected, and it's been a tremendous work in progress, and I'm proud of the results.
We held innumerable meetings, and most recently, Pam Bagwell, our HR consultant, has reviewed it, and we've met at least once and had numerous phone calls with Jeff Beamer, who is our labor attorney, to make sure there's clarification with the language. We want to make sure that everybody is clear as to what is in the handbook.
I have a question on 3.3.
Mr. Duggar.
It's on the sick leave donation policy. I mean, it's spelled out here, which is very similar to what we do now. But I have seen the sick leave bank that the county school system uses, which seems to spell out things, to me, a lot more step by step, rather than having to run around with a piece of paper and get people to donate. It puts the responsibility on the employee. It makes responsible employees. It says, you know, up front, I want to put this much sick leave in the bank. Therefore, if this scenario happens, then I can withdraw this. And it doesn't require somebody donating. Was any thought given to going that route rather than this route?
I don't want to speak for the Personnel Committee, but I do not think the school system's procedures were considered. We had polled and worked with some of our majority of the department heads that had input into this, and this, if somebody may correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this is patterned after what the Sheriff's Department has utilized for a number of years with some minor tweaks, but it's the consensus of the department heads that the Sheriff's Department's policy was one that they wanted to adopt and have reflected, and that's the results you see on 3.3, and that's on pages 16 and 17.
Commissioners Eden and Brown were also serving on Personnel Committee if they have any insight they wish to add. But to my knowledge, Commissioner Garner's right. I don't think what the school system does was ever brought up into our meetings. Commissioner Eden.
I would just say, Commissioner Duggar, that we were very intent on keeping this very good, benevolent policy that's been going on long before all of us got here to be in this. The issue was we weren't handling it consistently, department to department. Now we have a basic, simple policy where everybody handles it the same. And I know I would say the Personnel Committee believes that it's fair. And the whole premise is for if someone has a serious illness and the fellow employees volunteer to give them some hours, then they're free to do that. We even put one little stipulation in there when the discussion went that there's a maximum of what an employee can give. Like they can give no more than half of the sick time they've got accumulated in conjunction with another total. But the whole idea was to get it consistent and fair across the board so that we handle all the same.
Other questions or comments? Commissioner Adcock.
I've had a question to ask, and I didn't know the answer to it. When they give sick time, if that person is working for the highway department and they're giving sick time to another department, are they given at the rate of pay that they're getting or the rate that the employee is making? You know, one person may be making $18 or $20 an hour and the other person may be making $15. The question was asked, how do they adjust that pay rate?
That was not considered, and that is not specifically in the procedures itself as far as how that may be proportionate or how to divide that or allocate that. That is not contemplated in these procedures.
Mr. Brown.
I was going to say, my understanding is it's whatever the employee makes, because you're getting it for multiple employees. Therefore, I can't imagine a nightmare's payroll if we were taking it from 17 different rates. In other words, so whatever the employee's making is what that employee's making, irrespective, and that could cost more or less on sick time.
You know, we actually, there's hours and hours. If there's some advantage or disadvantage in the pay scale, it just is. Yeah. But hours and hours.
Yeah, it's based on the hours. It's not based on the rate of pay.
So could there be unequal? Yeah, there could be, but I don't know of any good way to overcome that without a major sophisticated system.
Well, I mean, the question was just asked because they said if I were making $20 an hour and I gave you 20 hours of my time and you were making 15, do you get the 20?
No,
Or do they
no.
get the 15? Or what happens to the balances?
You would get the hour, or
Whatever
whoever you're
whatever
giving it
the
to, you're
hours that
giving
the
them.
money amounted to.
Right.
Yeah, you're giving them the hour, you're not giving them any kind of rate of pay or adjustment on the rate of pay.
And probably over time, it would probably even itself out because of the difference, but yeah, there's no, is there a discrepancy? Yeah, there's some, but not significant, I don't believe.
Other questions or comments? Commissioner Diorio.
This has been looked over by an attorney and Ms. Bagwell, right? Is there any disclaimer in here if anything goes against state law that it becomes null and void, or if the law changes and that's in there?
Well, and I would say 3 different attorneys, because if you factor in myself and our county attorney and the labor attorney we employed, I would certainly say yes, it has, and those disclaimers are there. And that was a conscientious effort of the Personnel Committee to specifically seek state and federal regulations.
Other questions? Commissioner Gregory.
If you look at under procedure A, it says that the employee will receive sick time after they have no approved paid sick leave. And I know that in the past, we've allowed our employees to actually anticipate they're going to run out. But it seems to me like this is a change in the law. I mean, once they have no approved leave, is when they can have it donated. Or can they anticipate that donation?
What number?
You say A2, the has no accrued paid sick leave? Is that the, I believe there was some discussion about that, Commissioner, and that was one of the considerations that I recall that the committee liked or preferred with the Sheriff's Department, that those benefits within the employee's package, for lack of a better term, be used first before it's reached out to fellow employees. So that was one of the preferred means, was to utilize your sick time before, asking your fellow employees for hours. And vacation.
One of the pluses of the school board's policy, I mean, you actually, your sick time, there is a period where you're not allowed to draw out of the bank, and then you draw out. So it does make the employees more accountable for what they do. So I agree, I think it's a plus.
And some of the discussion of that was, if you've got multiple employees in a larger department, some may not be, or not have information or be privy to what hours are used. So it's up to the department head to determine those have been used down before reaching out to fellow employees or asking of fellow employees.
Does this mean that this will not come before the commission anymore? If an employee uses this, we don't vote on it anymore, they just go by this?
It's contemplated that they use this. I believe they still, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Mayor, they still would have to bring the proposal before the commission before. No, okay. There's your answer.
Mr. Couch.
Was there any thought of putting a cap on this? I mean, it says there's no limit to how many sick days you can accrue, and it seems that you have long-term employees, 20, 30-year employees, they can accumulate a whole lot of time, and we hope they're healthy, and they are, but it's a check that's going to come due at some point in time.
To answer your question, yes, there was some discussion, as I recall, about that, but we did not want to disrupt what has become accustomed to with our employees, so that was not considered or not approved. A cap.
Other questions or comments? Ready to vote? Question's been called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 21 votes in favor, 1 opposed, and 2 absent, I declare that resolution is approved. And recognize Commissioner Adcock for amend budget year ending June 30, 2014 for elections.
Mayor Bradley, Madam Clerk, fellow commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, this resolution is to amend the budget. This is a voting machine grant, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
It's a balanced budget amendment to purchase some new voting machines.
Have a motion, is there a second? A second by Commissioner Jackson. Any discussion? Question's been called for. Seeing no opposition, question being put. If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 22 votes in favor, none opposed, and 2 absent, I declare that resolution approved. Commissioner Adcock.
This is Resolution 10-21-13087 to amend the budget for the fiscal year, and it's a refund in lieu of tax. And it is a balanced budget. Make a motion we approve.
Motion and a second by Commissioner DeOrio. Of course, this is the financing for the WIC building. If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. With 22 votes in favor, none opposed, and 2 absent, I declare that resolution approved. Commissioner Adcock.
This resolution is 1021-13088. This resolution is for a purchase, or I guess it's a purchase of Fort Redmond property in Adams. It's in your district.
Have a motion and a second. We'll discuss this. Have a second by Commissioner Garner. We have in the audience tonight Mayor Brookshire, Ms. Kay Bagby, Ms. Joy Garrett, the city recorder, and be happy to make them members if you like. I think that they have applied for a grant which totals about $220,000, $210,000, and they need a local, I think the city of Adams has already put up $20,000, so they need another local grant of $10,000 to get us across the goal line. Commissioner Vogel.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, make a member of the court. I'm willing to speak on this for them, but however y'all like to do this.
Okay. You want to make those 3 a member of the commission?
I'd like to make the mayor a member, and I'm going to speak on it too. If I don't, them 2 ladies will drag me through Adams.
Okay.
I'd like to make the mayor Brookshire a member of the court.
Let me make Joey our city.
Okay. All right, let me change it. Make Joey Garrett, she's our city manager.
All right, have a motion to make Ms. Garrett a member, and a second by Commissioner Brown. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. So, Ms. Joy, if you'll come up, you can probably shed some light on this project, which is something that many folks are very excited about. Ms. Joy Garrett, who is the Adams City Recorder.
Thank you, Mayor Bradley. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2010, the city began to pursue acquisition of the site at Fort Redmond, which is located at on Highway 41 across from Red River Campground on the other side of the highway. It's a 20-acre lot, and it goes along the river. It's a beautiful area and has a lot of history. It was a blockhouse during the Civil War, and there's a lot of history involved. And I gave you a packet that is a little green packet that gives you the information about the site. We approached the State Land Acquisitions Board and made application. It was approved. The purchase price is $210,000. Sons of the Confederacy pledged $5,000, the city $20,000, and we approached different organizations for the remaining $20,000, which we thought we had, and now that the deal is fixing to close, we're $10,000 shy of what we need to acquire this property. Our plans for the property are long-term. We have ideas for a walking trail, to rebuild the blockhouse. There are venues down there to have plays or reenactments. There are also ideas for campgrounds and a fishing pier and a canoe launching facility. And all these ideas have come from other organizations within the state that want to see the area developed. And I think it would be a real boon for our county if we choose to go forward. And I'd hate to see this deal go south just for $10,000. We've worked on it for 3 years, and there are a lot of grant monies and other people that and organizations that will partner with us to see it developed if we can just get it acquired. So,
any questions for Ms. Joy? Commissioner Vogel?
Go ahead. I'll yield, Mr. Garner.
Mr. Garner?
Not necessarily a question, but just a comment. As someone heavily involved with the chamber and then with the Industrial and Tourism Board, I'm excited for what this would mean. I know Margot Fosnes is here, CEO and President of Economic Development here, in support of this as well, and we just look forward to what this may mean, not only for the Adams and Cedar Hill areas, but for Robertson County. So I'm excited that this is here and look forward to working with Adams in the weeks and months ahead.
Mr. Vogel?
I'd like to add, I hope this commission don't let $10,000 stop this, because there's a lot of people in Adams that work hard on the spirit play, Thrashman Show, bluegrass, and everything. And if they acquire this property, there's no doubt the same people are going to make this work. I mean, this is a piece of history that fort was there to protect the wooden bridge that the railroad used to keep the Union soldiers, the Southern soldiers, from burning it down. And I feel like we need to move on this. We do not leave that $10,000 stop us. That won't even buy you a good pickup nowadays.
Commissioner Doris?
Yes, ma'am. Y'all don't ask for much down there. I'll be glad to show you my support for the park down there.
Anyone else? Questions or comments? Question been called for. Seeing no opposition to question being put, if you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 22 votes in favor, none opposed, and 2 absent, declare that resolution adopted. Thank you, Ms. Joy. You did well. Mr. Adcock?
This resolution is 10-21-13089. It's a resolution that we spoke on last month. It's a cremation of unclaimed bodies, and I'll make a motion we approve.
Have a motion and a second, and I'll be glad to explain. A second by Commissioner Wilson. I brought this to the Budget Committee recently because the mayor's office from time to time receives phone calls from families of indigent who simply cannot afford burial costs. And back in the days that Commissioner Jones and I remember, probably we're the only two, we had a county farm where these indigents could be buried. That's not really a possibility for us anymore. So what we've elected to do was to offer a cremation which costs $400, and the funeral homes will provide that at cost. That's their cost. And so at least it gives us a budget item to include this when they come across, and I'm calling Jody Stewart and saying, what can we do? These people need help, and hopefully that will take at least some measure of some final expenses. So that's why this is being brought to you. Hopefully it'll never be used, but it's good to have something in the budget for that purpose.
I can recall the days when the commission awarded $100 to a funeral home to do this. This was many years ago.
Questions or comments? Ready to vote?
Mr. Mayor, how many do we average on a year?
I'll probably receive 3 phone calls a year. I don't know that anyone has yet redeemed that offer, but we've made that offer through the funeral homes at their cost. But I don't know if that has actually been redeemed. but it possibly may have. Questions or comments? Question has been called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm. 22 votes in favor and none opposed and 2 absent. I declare that resolution approved. Commissioner Adcock.
This resolution is 10-21-13090. This resolution is to adopt a drug control fund. I make a motion we approve.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. DiOrio. Any discussion? Pass-through funds from the sheriff's office. If you're in favor of this resolution, vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. Being 22 votes in favor and none opposed and 2 absent, I declare that resolution approved. Is there any old business to come before this body? Commissioner Jones.
I remember a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, when R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company offered us some parcels of land with buildings. And I haven't heard anything about that since.
We have the county attorney in the audience. If the county attorney has any information that he might be willing to share, we could make him a member of this body. We're talking about the buildings there on Central Avenue. Have a motion to make Clyde Richard a member of the commission. Second by Commissioner Baggett. All those in favor say aye. Aye. So Mr. Richard, if you'll come up and you may have some information more recently than I do, because we've been talking about this since last spring, actually. Mr. Clyde Richard.
Mayor, Madam Clerk, member of the commission and audience, I've received a couple of phone calls from representatives of the tobacco company. Got one about a month ago, and they know they're a little bit behind in their discussions with us. Then received one maybe 2 weeks ago. I think they're in the process of moving all their operations that used to occur here in Springfield over to Clarksville, and they were getting everything out of the building. They still have full intent, they tell me, to offer the building and to us. It's just moving a little bit slower with their corporate hierarchy than they first planned.
Chair would observe they had originally planned to have the tobacco out of the building by July. That didn't work out, and much of the tobacco is still in the building. So I think that's what has slowed the process down. Other questions for the county attorney?
So we don't have any time frame?
No, not presently. We're waiting on them. The ball's in their court.
I think they're currently moving it to Clarksville. They're moving the tobacco now to Clarksville. Other questions? Thank you, Mr. Richard. Any new business to come before this body? The commission wants to express its sympathies to our Circuit Court Clerk, Miss Lisa Cavender, whose father, Mr. Markham, passed away, and his services were conducted yesterday at the Adams United Methodist Church, so our condolences to Lisa and her family. Anything else on the new business? I'm going to recognize Commissioner Bobby Jones for the election of notaries.
You have before you a list of notaries' applications, and they've been investigated and recommended, and I recommend that we accept them as notaries for this case.
Have a motion by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Doris. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no, so they are approved. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. Have a motion by Commissioner Vogel and a second by Commissioner Brown. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you.